Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I've just popped out because look at that sky. It's the most beautiful day here in Edinburgh, and I'm taking as many breaks as I can throughout the day. I have a busy day in my day job in Justice. I've got a group this afternoon and a few other things this morning, and I'm just trying to get out as much as I can just to really take in that beautiful sun, look up at the sky, and just I guess embody more gratitude and compassion. So I guess that's why I'm coming on. First of all, happy Monday. How are you all? And then I want to continue with my topic of compassion. So I'm very much at the moment working very proactively with compassion. I have been for quite some time. So I studied with Balanced Minds, and I did 2 years of compassionate mind training with them, and this is linked to my day job in Justice, where I work as a specialist mindfulness and compassion-based trainer. Sorry, my words are they're not working today. It's one of those days, I think. Anyway, I'm a specialist trainer in compassion and mindfulness within Justice for social workers, linked to a Moving Forward to Change program that we offer in Justice. And they paid for the majority of my training. I was really fortunate, and then I covered the rest, and that has qualified me to be a trainer in compassionate mind work. Anyway, long story short, since then it really made me realize the importance and the power of compassion, and how closely it is linked with nervous system regulation work and somatic practices, and the work that we do that encourages us to go deeper and work with ourselves through a compassionate lens. And this weekend I had, without oversharing, I had a very powerful emotional shift. Some of you who are following me may have seen that I posted that I think it was on Friday that I had a really strong nervous system somatic reaction to something external. And I got through that, and I got through that by using my somatic toolkit and nervous system regulation toolkit and a bit of mindfulness, but also by working really deeply and strongly with compassion. And for me, that doesn't mean being nice and friendly and everything else with everyone, or even just to myself all the time, but actually it's about also fierce compassion. So really setting fierce boundaries sometimes, saying no, saying actually that doesn't resonate with me, or I don't have energy for that right now, and standing by that without overthinking it, without falling into that inner critic where I question, oh, why did I say that? How did I say that? Well, how will it land with them? But actually just thinking, you know what? Compassion is also about being compassionate towards myself, fiercely compassionate towards myself, and saying, I am worthy of respect, I am worthy of love, I am worthy of being able to set clear and fierce boundaries. And most importantly, I have the right to teach others how to treat me, and only I can be accountable and responsible for that. So that's where I am with my compassion right now, really actively setting boundaries, even more so than ever, but using language that feels that it comes from the heart space, that feels proportionate, that doesn't feel reactive or aggressive, but more assertive and calm, and from a place of soothe and groundedness, but being really clear about my needs and what I'm willing to accept and not. And I'm mentioning this because this weekend in particular, I really had to do that. I had a number of opportunities, and they were gifts really. They were uncomfortable gifts, but a number of opportunities where I had to set these very strong and fierce boundaries. And it was an act of self-compassion towards myself. But I actually also then noticed that when I did that, and I did that from a place of being in my rest and digest part of the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, that parasympathetic part of the nervous system, and not being reactive. So making sure that I was grounded, making sure that I was breathing, that I was thinking about the words that I was using, my tone of voice, the volume of my voice, my body language. It was amazing how in that moment I actually felt so much more compassion towards that person. And I actually received compassion back and understanding. And this is a huge breakthrough for me, because a lot of my life I've struggled with being quite reactive. That is linked to definitely some of the ADHD stuff and being a bit too quick and not thinking things through, a bit more reactive, but also that my trauma story that has sometimes made me feel more defensive, more reactive. And so I've really noticed this huge emotional shift, and it's amazing how powerful this is. And really what it comes down to is really simple. So thinking about what are my needs? What do I need? How can I voice them in a way that feels proportionate, feels balanced, that comes from the heart space, and is definitely coming from a compassionate lens? And when I say compassionate lens, so compassion, if I think of the principles, we're thinking non-judgment, collaboration, boundaries, clarity, non-reactive, challenging that inner critic, but also embracing that inner critic and knowing that those unhelpful thoughts, those unhelpful sensations, all that stuff, it's our body keeping us safe. It's our mind keeping us safe. It's our nervous system keeping us safe rather than resisting. So here's my challenge for you. If you'd like to work a little bit more on compassion and not the warm and fuzzy and letting people treat us in any way they wish and not having our voices heard and being reactive, but being balanced, being assertive, being clear, setting fierce boundaries, and most importantly, being compassionate towards yourself, that you're doing your best and that's enough, and that we're constantly learning and growing and evolving, then I invite you to think about maybe even just today. Is there one compassionate act that I can share with myself today? Maybe it's cancelling something that you just don't have the energy for. Maybe it's getting yourself that extra coffee because you'd really like it, or going for a walk in the sunshine, or having more breaks. Maybe it's speaking to a friend or a loved one. Maybe it's just making more time for rest, or not getting back to that person that you feel like you don't have the energy to speak to right now, and knowing that's okay. Find one thing where you can start to show yourself more compassion and see how powerful that can be, and then let that be the starting point for maybe a new chapter in your life. Okay, I've waffled on as always. I've always got lots to share. I hope you're all well and I hope you're taking care. And I guess my final thought is, particularly at the moment in a world that feels quite heavy at the best of times, and there's so many external things we have no control of, let us tap into compassion. It's the one thing we can cultivate. It's the one thing we can have control of. And it's incredibly powerful. And I've seen live this weekend on how much it's shifted me on an emotional level and empowered me. And I've been trying to share live this journey that I'm on at the moment, not only physiologically, because I've changed my nutrition, but also mentally. I felt this incredibly huge shift. I feel like I'm finally coming out the other end of a very long journey of trauma recovery, of coming home back to myself, of finding myself again. And the work will not stop, and I know that the work continues, but this is definitely one of those points and one of those moments I want to celebrate and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, dear body. Thank you to all the people in my life that love and support me. My voice is getting a bit wobbly because it makes me quite emotional. And just thank you to me for doing all the hard work. And I guess I want to share with you that the hard work is worth it. I always say to everyone, the work doesn't stop, but the hard work is worth it. Working on yourself, working on your needs, having more awareness of what you need and what's right for you. And only you have the answer to that. Okay, I'm going to go. A little reminder, my name is Corey and I am the face of Coa, my brand, and Coa Unplugged, the podcast, which if you haven't checked it out, I have a compassion practice on Coa Unplugged, the podcast that I just shared this weekend, if you'd like to dive a little bit deeper. And I'm here in the heart of Edinburgh on the most beautiful day. I wish I was off today. It's so gorgeous. But like I said, certainly my compassionate act today is going to be getting as many little breaks as I can. Take care, everyone. And let's all just embody more compassion, more fierce compassion. Yeah, let our voices be heard. Let us listen to our bodies. Take care.